Alright, so today's topic is talking about intersecting secants interior, and there's two ways you're going to be able to see that. The first way is with those two lines, because remember a secant is when a line or a chord intersects a circle twice. So that's shown here. The second way is just going to be with chords, so the lines don't actually extend all the way out, but they still do intersect those circles at those 2 points, so they're still secants. Now when you have this, you'll have something like, I have letters A, B, C, and D, same thing over here, A, B, C, and D. And then where those lines or chords intersect, I have angles, so I'm going to call these angles 1 and 2. And this is just for our picture. Now we do have a formula, and there's technically two depending on which angle you're looking for. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 of the measure of arc AB plus the measure of arc CD. So to find that angle, you would take the two arcs, add them together, and divide by 2. And it's very similar for angle 2, so it's 1/2 the measure of arc AC plus the measure of arc BD. Now if I wanted to turn this into words, basically I take the angle, or to find the angle, it's equal to 1/2 of the arcs added together. So if the formula doesn't work for you and the words are better, that's fine. We're going to do some practice here in just a second. So in this example, make sure you do draw it, that way you know what you're referring to in your notes. I'm asking you to find the measure of angle AED. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that here. So AED, that is this angle right here. And remember, I told you that the angle is equal to 1/2 of the arcs added together. So I don't know what my angle is. That's what I'm looking for, but I am going to replace it with the letters AED, and it's equal to 1/2. Now I need to figure out what my arcs are, and luckily here they're given. So I have one arc as 45, and I have the second one as 109. I don't need to find anything else. I have both arcs. So I'm going to put that into the equation. I'm going to do 45 plus 109. Now I have angle AED is equal to 1/2 of, I do 45 plus 109, and that gives me 154. You have two options here. In your calculator, if you want to do 1/2 times 145, that's fine. But this is also the same thing as 154 divided by 2. I said 155, I meant 154, sorry. So when I do that in my calculator, I'm going to do 154 divided by 2, and I find out that the measure of angle AED is 77 degrees. So that's it. That's all you have to do with these number examples. Sometimes I'll give you the angle in one arc, so we're going to do an example like that now. So here's our second example. Again, make sure you are drawing these. If you're not drawing them, you're going to have a really hard time reading your notes later on. So my formula I'm using here still is the angle is equal to 1/2 of the arcs added together. Now in this problem, I'm asking you to find the measure of STR. So again, I don't know what my angle is. That's what I'm finding. So I'm going to label it as angle STR because it's straight from the problem. And it's equal to 1/2 times, I need to figure out what my arcs are here. And again, they're given to us, 186 and 112. So I'm going to add them together, 186 plus 112. And now I can start simplifying. So the angle STR is equal to 1/2 of 186 plus 112 gives me 298. Again, if you want to plug it into your calculator just like this, it'll give you an answer, or you can plug it in as 298 divided by 2, whichever one is easier for you. When I do that and plug it into my calculator, I find out that my angle STR is equal to 149 degrees. So this last example that I'm going to do with numbers, I'm asking you to find the measure of arc CDE. So I'm going to go ahead and outline that here. So we go from C to D all the way over to E. That's what we're trying to find. Now our formula is still the same, where the angle is equal to 1/2 of the arcs added together. So I'm going to go ahead and start plugging in what I know. I'm going to label on my diagram. I have 128 degrees. It's on the inside. It's actually an angle, or the one angle we need. And then I also have this 73 degrees. If you see, it's on the outside of the circle, so that tells me that this is one of the arcs. So now I'm going to plug in what I know. Instead of angle, I can actually use a number here. So I have 128 degrees. It's equal to 1/2 of, one of my arcs is 73 plus my second arc is the one that I don't know. That's the one I'm finding. So I'm going to just call it X. Now to get rid of that 1/2, you can distribute it if you want, but I think the easiest thing is to multiply both sides by 2. When I do that on the right side, it actually cancels this whole fraction out. And I'm left with just 73 plus X. On the left side, I have 128 times 2. And whenever I do that, I end up with 256 on the left side. I want to get X by itself so I can figure out what that arc measure is. So I'm going to subtract 73 from both sides. When I do that on the right, it cancels out. When I do that on the left, 256 minus 73 gives me 183, which is equal to X, which in this case is that arc measure. So for this last example, we're going to actually introduce the algebra into it. We're still using that same formula where the angle is equal to 1/2 of the arcs added together. So again, I'm going to label everything. Here, this 55 is on the outside, so it is going to be an arc. Same thing with this 75, it's on the outside, it is also an arc. Now the last thing we have is this algebra piece, 3x plus 23, and if you notice, it's pointing inside here to the angle. So this is our angle. When I go to fill in, instead of the angle, I'm going to write what I know. So it's 3x plus 23 is equal to, and I still have 1/2 of the arcs added together. So my first arc, doesn't matter which, is 75, plus my second arc, again, doesn't matter which, is 55. I'm going to simplify what I can. I'm going to leave that 3x plus 23 alone right now. It's equal to 1/2 times 75 plus 55 gives me 130. Again, I'm going to either do 1/2 times 130 in my calculator, or I'm going to do 130 divided by 2. When I do that, I still have 3x plus 23 on the left, but 1/2 of 130 is 65. I'm now going to go through the process of solving for x. So I'm going to subtract 23 from both sides because I want to get that 3x by itself first. When I do that on the left, it cancels out, and I'm left with 3x is equal to 65 minus 23 is 42. And my last step here is to divide both sides by 3. When I do that, the 3's cancel out, and I'm just left with x equals, and then I have 42 divided by 3, which gives me 14. And so in this problem, I just asked you to solve for x, so you're done. Your answer is x equals 14.